Good day, good people. My name is Kabasekwele and I'm an online math tutor here to help young children turn their struggles into their successes. For this video, we will be adding an additional episode to the series explaining viral math tricks. There are a ton of math tricks and shortcuts on the internet, but nobody explains these math tricks and why they work the way they work. I've said this before on my channel, teaching children who aren't developed in mathematics tricks and shortcuts will not be beneficial unless you explain the basis for these shortcuts and why they work and where they come from. So that's what we're going to be doing today, as well as with all the other videos that explain other shortcuts that have gone viral on TikTok and YouTube and all these other social media platforms. Today's math trick is from Tutor Z. I found it on TikTok. Let's check it out.
Check out this math hack. So, if we're ever asked which fraction is larger, all you have to do is cross multiply. So 5 times 10, that's 50. And 7 times 7, that's 49. And whichever number is larger is going to be your answer. So that means our answer is A.
So according to this video, our goal is to see which fraction is bigger between the two. Now, according to the math trick, we are supposed to take the denominator of the first fraction, which was 7, and multiply it by the numerator of the second fraction, which was also 7. The answer to 7 times 7 is 49, and that answer will belong to the second fraction because we used the second fraction's numerator. Again, we are supposed to take the denominator of the second fraction, which was 10, and multiply it by the numerator of the first fraction, which is 5. 5 times 10 is 50, and that answer will belong to the first fraction because we used the numerator of the first fraction. Now, once you've done all of that, the fraction with the highest answer is the highest fraction. So back to our example, the highest answer that we got was 50, which then means that the highest fraction between the two is the first one, 5 out of 7. That's how the math trick works. But now the question is, where do all these steps come from? One thing you will notice as you go through this series is that many of these shortcuts come from a longer method. Many times there's a longer way to do something, and then a shortcut just takes parts of that method to get the same final answer. So that's the case with this particular shortcut. There is a method that we use to figure out which fraction is bigger between two fractions, and this shortcut has taken steps from this longer method. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this longer method, and then we're going to see which steps were taken from the long method to create the shortcut, or the math trick rather. We're going to use the exact same example, 5 out of 7 and 7 out of 10. So in our longer method, our first step is to make the denominators of these two fractions the same. Why do we do this? Because we're basically going to be comparing two fractions. And when you compare something, you need to compare apples with apples. They need to be the same kind for you to compare them. So when it comes to fractions, they need to have the same denominator in order for them to be compared, in order for us to see which one is bigger between the two. So that is why we make the denominators the same. Now, the easiest way to make these denominators the same is by multiplying the first fraction's denominator with the second fraction's denominator, and multiplying the second fraction's denominator with the first fraction's denominator. Doing that will result in both fractions having the same denominator. The second step in this method is multiplying the numerators with the same value we multiplied their denominators with. Why do we do this? Well, in mathematics, anytime you change a denominator, you need to change its numerator as well. This keeps the value of the fraction. The value stays the same as long as you change both the numerator the same way you change the denominator. It's exactly equal even though it looks different. It may look different to what it was before, but the value stays the same. So with the first fraction, we multiplied the denominator by 10. To keep the value of the fraction, we need to multiply the numerator by 10 as well. Again, with the second fraction, we multiplied the denominator by 7. To keep the value of that fraction, we need to multiply its numerator by 7 as well. That now leaves us with two fractions, 50 over 70 and 49 over 70. Only now can we see which fraction is bigger because only now are we comparing apples to apples. Now keep in mind, our original fractions were 5 out of 7 and 7 out of 10. But we couldn't see which fraction was bigger between the two, which is why we found fractions that were equal to these fractions, but they both now needed to have the same denominator. So the value of the fractions hasn't changed, they just look different. And we needed them to look different because we needed them to have the same denominator. We needed them to share a denominator so we can compare them. Now, just based on the numerators, we can see which fraction is bigger. We can see that 50 out of 70 is larger than 49 out of 70. which means that 5 out of 7 is bigger than 7 out of 10. That's what the long method is, and it gave us the exact same answer as the short method did. So, which steps from the long method were taken to create the short method? Remember that in the shortcut, we needed to multiply the numerators with the denominators of the other fraction. That obviously comes from the second step in our longer method. So instead of taking the long way of changing the denominators, then changing the numerators, in the shortcut, we just changed the numerators. Honestly speaking, the numerator is the only thing we needed to change in order to see which fraction is bigger. Because in any case, when we change the denominators, they're both going to be the exact same thing. It's the numerators that are different. It's the numerators that tell us which one is bigger, not the denominators. So we might as well just change the numerators, and if we do it correctly, we will see which of the fractions is bigger between the two. And that is where the shortcut comes from. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I hope it made sense. If you're interested in more of these types of videos, please let me know down in the comments, but also be sure to check out this series. There's quite a few of these videos on my channel, so be sure to check them out. And if you're a parent who is interested in a course that will teach your child how to understand mathematics, please head on to my website and schedule a free consultation with me. Thanks once more, and I'll see you in the next video.